ago, in the dense forests of southeast Nigeria, beyond where the palm trees bend, and the air tastes like stone and mist, there was a sacred cave. Ogbunike. No one entered it alone. Not the bravest hunter. Not even the highest priest. Because inside, they said, lived Agwun, the guardian spirit of the underworld, and his gift, the drum. It was carved, they claimed, from the remains of a tree struck by lightning 3 times on the same day. With the skin of a lion that died roaring, its voice could summon storms, its beat could stir the bones of ancestors, and it could only be played once every 100 years. But one day, a young boy named Obedike came into the world. He was born during an eclipse. The midwife said his cry shook the walls. His eyes looked too far into the dark. And the Dibia, the spiritual healer, looked at him and whispered, "This one was sent to knock the drum." Obedike grew up fearless. He walked barefoot into forests others feared. Birds grew silent when he passed. Even snakes slithered away. But he was kind too, always helping the old, always feeding the hungry. At 17, he dreamt of a path of fire leading to a cave, and a voice, "The land forgets, the ancestors sleep, wake them." When he told the elders, fear flashed in their eyes. "That drum is not for boys," they warned. "If you knock it without permission, the cave may never release you." But Obedike had already made his choice. At dawn, he entered the cave alone. Torches died in his hands. Darkness swallowed him, but he kept walking, down cobwebs, standing like a silent god. And then, he struck it. Boom, Amteko. It sank. Boom, it pulled. Boom. Suddenly the walls of the dancing shadows of warriors, queens, lost children, and forgotten gods. Then the Agwune filled the cave. Because the land is sick, because truth is buried, because power now wears the mask of lies. Agwun was silent for a long time. Then he said, "Then take the truth, but know this, it is heavier than a crown." The drum split in 2. A spirit stepped out, cloaked in ash and wind. It entered Obedike's body, and when he walked out of the cave, his eyes were no longer just human. From that day on, he spoke only in parables. He could see when people lied. He could hear the names of ancestors whispered in the wind, and once a month, he would disappear into the night, only to return with messages from beyond. Some feared him, some worshipped him, but all respected him, because he was the boy who knocked the drum and survived. Moral of the story: once awake, not be silenced, and those who seek it must be ready, not just to hear, but to carry it.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time you are coming across this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, so you can be notified whenever we drop content. On this channel we drop meaningful and educational contents back to back. And to my returning subscriber, I want to say a big thanks to you. Thanks for your support, thanks for your trust. Without wasting more time, let's dive into today's content. In a lively town in Nigeria, there lived a hard-working man named Papa Bayo. Papa Bayo was proud of his job at the factory. Every day, he would leave early in the morning and come back evening. He loved nothing at his Papa Bayo's wife, Mama Fole, children, 7 years old, and loved to read. Little Tunji was always running around into their home. One afternoon, Papa Bayo, his face worried that Mama Fole right away. "Everything all right?" she said, her voice concerned. Smile something. He said, no longer. Mama Fole placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Through the snow, as a family, Papa wasn't so and word how he provided, decided some. Instead, he tried to as if everything was fine. Days turned weeks, and Papa struggled in a job. He went to different places asking needed workers, but each time, he returned home with luck. That Papa bails in himself. Why times a little. One evening, he noticed he didn't have much. Mama stood, his innocent eyes watching. Mama, stay hostage. We're trying new meals. My dear, she said gently. Soccer and more worn out shoes. I knew something wrong, didn't I? One day, while Papa Bayo was out looking for Uncle Apo. Bayo was a who worked as a carpenter. He noticed Papa Bayo's tired every irritated feeling of pain. Finally, he shook Apo, who listened patiently. Bayo, Uncle Dapo said, much open my workshop. It's not for work, but it's some. Papa thought. Working workshop wasn't what he had planned for himself. In his family violence, Papa Bayo returned home that evening. Mama just sparked hope and told her about the Uncle Dapo's workshop. Over Miss Job, say you, Bayo. It didn't matter working. Papa Bayo began with learning hard skills he tried. At first, he found it challenging, but each day, he grew more confident. He came for him. One evening, sat beside her father, watching all a small wooden chair he had made at the workshop. I'm proud of you, she said. I know things are hard, but you're Papa Bayo's heart started word. He thanked you. Sometimes as planned. That night, the family gathered on the dinner table, closer than ever. Papa realized that didn't define him. It was his love for his family that mattered most.
Hi guys, welcome channel. If this is your first time across this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever we drop content. On this channel, we drop meaningful original contents back to back. And to my returning subscribers, I want to thank for your support. Thanks for your trust. Without wasting more time, let's dive into today's content. Land is whispered through rhythm. A grief tribe on in the French Tadalani, the whispering drum. Crafted from sacred wood and the skin of a lion that had once defended the village, it led to Esther. Ever day its own. Whenever a drum would not suffer, day passed away. Julo with the told a secret. He silent. He opened his bands. But each night and to beat again. First, like a heart, then two. Till one night, Julo awoke. Chamber it itself. No door broke. No footprints. Just air pulsed. It was. You took the. You said truth. But who ordered it? Drum crack break. Flame blue voices of ancestors filled the hall. To a strange drumbian table, and him still holding the with anger. The drum people to the voices and those born in silence. The people turned on Chifula, but the drum thumped to his. He was in among the humility and Ayo chosen not as queen but as voice keeper. From then on, each descend line was made with drums and the people's voice. The silent truth from echo.
When Chika, she almost turned thinking, this can't be the place. Found it overgrown, like nobody there. Convinced she was at the wrong location, she began to leave. But spotted fruit crates that directly to Mama Ada. She cared to move any further. There were fruits sold every. She would sit and announce fresh deals. Come and buy sweet oranges. They taste just as sweet as sugar and are the cheapest in the market. But no matter how loudly she sang the praises of her fruits, the buyer ignored her because of her bad hygiene. If you came close to her, her body odor would immediately hit your nose. Mama Ada's mouth smelled bad, a mix of unbrushed teeth and the bitter cola she chewed all day to ease her back pain, an injury she had sustained from her days. Why are your gloves buyer? My dear, to keep them fresh. I forgot them there 3 days. That's why they are a little soft. But they are still good though. He make kills and leave her shop. Mama Ada was simply a disaster. One evening, as the market emptied out, Mama Ada was disappointed that she had made just one sale. With a heavy sigh of fruits, as she took up a basket to carry it in, instead a hand, ready. Without twice, Mama Ada snatched the hand person out of the corner. A young lady, who immediately knelt and began begging, please, do not shout. I'm sorry. I was very hungry. Mama Ada looked into the lady's eyes and felt pity for her. Then she began gathering fruits in a bag for the lady. After she took her hand in hand and gave her the only money it, the lady's ingratitude, but ignored and finished packing her fruits. The next morning, she arrived at her shop as usual, but suddenly the floor had been swept scarcely out of edge. She not swept it once. She looked at who had tidied her shop, and just in the corner, she saw the lady who she helped with fruits and money peeping at her. Slowly, she walked out of where she was hiding and said, Thank you for yesterday. I had no way to pay you back, so I thought I could clean you. Mama Ada looked at her and said, "You're well protecting, but do not try to steal anymore." He nodded and stepped away, allowing Mama Ada to begin. Before Mama Ada was surprised that her shop had been cleaned once again. The lady, whose name was Chika, came out from her hiding spot and they exchanged pleasantries. Mama Ada kindly asked Chika to stop, explaining that she could not afford to pay for her help. But Chika was unmoved. Day after day, Chika arrived early to clean the shop, and in return, Mama Ada began offering her fruits as a token of appreciation. But one day, Chika waited for Mama Ada to arrive, but she was nowhere to be seen. The same thing happened for the next 5 days. Alarmed, Chika asked the other market women if they knew where Mama Ada lived, and with the directions they provided, she set off to find her. When Chika got there, she almost turned back, thinking, this can't be the place. The compound was a mess, and the grass was overgrown like nobody lived there. Convinced she was at the wrong location, she began to leave, but she spotted a familiar fruit crate that definitely belonged to Mama Ada. Mama Ada! Chika shouted, scared to move any further. After shouting the second time, Mama Ada responded from the back of the house, and Chika followed her voice to the backyard. There she was, eating in a dirty environment. Chika, is that you? What are you doing here? She asked, wiping her hands on her dress, which was just as filthy as everything else around her. Chika explained that she had been absent from the marketplace and thought to check if all was well with her and Ada. Ada? Mama Ada asked in a surprised tone, and Chika nodded. Yes, your daughter Ada. Do people not call you Mama Ada because of your child? Mama Ada laughed and told Chika that she had just turned 27 and had never been married or had a child. She explained that she earned the name from the villagers after her parents passed away during an invasion. I was only 10 years old at the time, and my little sister, Ada, was 8. From that day on, I had to become a mother to Ada. I did everything I could to take care of her, even though I was just a child myself. That's how the name stuck. My name is Ngozi. Ngozi, Chika called, and Ngozi smiled. Nobody had referred to her by that name years. The same age, yet it looked like other than her. She realized that Ngozi purposely ignored that question even after she read it. Trying to change the topic, Ngozi informed her that she had decided to quit since she was not making any sales. Chika was disappointed to leave, but just as she had the Ngozi question that had been on her mind. Who do you live with? I mean, you come to the shop every day, but I know Chika hesitated, avoiding Ngozi's gaze. On her for time, she had love heart, so she told her the truth. That keeps me out. I've been homeless for 6 months. I sleep wherever I find. Explained that her mother's new husband admired her, which resounded and from her mother was overwhelmed by pity. Ngozi was silent. She could not imagine a mother behaving that way to her child. Suddenly, a thought crept into her mind and she voiced it out. This is my parents. As talked to your Chika was by her own. She thanked Ngozi and hugged her, and as she did, the stench on Ngozi's skin immediately rose, regardless of embrace, because for the longest time, this was the most amount of care and trust, and Chika had spent 3 weeks with Ngozi's environment, cooked and washed Ngozi's clothes, not just out of gratitude, but she loved to let her poor hygiene continue. But no matter what, she could not help but or something like at evening. She would watch Ngozi sit in front of the house like she was waiting for someone to arrive. Instead to go to bed. In the past, when she helped buy at the market, she openly sat in the market in anticipation of someone to appear. One day, out of concern for her usual evening watch, Chika said to her, Ngozi, it's been 3 days. Embarrassment quickly stood up. She did not realize Chika noticed she had not showered for some days. Too embarrassed to come back out, she lay on her bed after taking her bath and slept off. The next morning, when she immediately noticed her room windows were shut and she ran out of the house. Chika, who was alert, came out and why he thought I was not home. Chika was confused, stating the weather was warm. Ngozi burst into tears again. She said, in tears, it was hard to calm down. You can speak to me. Ngozi looked at Chika, then told her she was waiting for her sister Ada to return. She stated that Ada left their home over 3 years ago with the promise to return and take Ngozi to the city after months. After 2 months, Ada had passed away. She did not realize when she began sobbing, holding her as they cried together. She finally understood that Ngozi never mentioned her because she was scared to say she was this incident, and Chika looked after Ngozi with much more care. She has someone who could have someone who had been through too much. Chika was with Ngozi daily, encouraging her to live again. She politely spoke to her about her hygiene and how she believed it affected her business. Ngozi was a bit hesitant, but eventually she realized Chika truly cared for her, so she obliged her. After taking it properly brushed her teeth, she would ask her to return to the basket. They both worked to rebrand the fruit business, slowly buying fruits. Whenever someone attempted to call Ngozi Mama Ada, Chika would protest, stating that her name was Ngozi. They would smile at Chika's time. The name Ngozi began to stick. It was as if the name was a step reclaiming her life. Began again. First Chika deepened the immense amount of trust with them. One day, an unusual thing happened. There was a loud shout from outside. Mama Ada! The voice screamed closer. Ngozi jumped up. She knew that even in her sleep, standing outside was Ada. Sisters embraced themselves tightly. Freely, Ngozi finally felt Ngozi introduced her, and eventually, Chika started to discuss. There were so many unanswered questions in the air, but Ngozi did not seem to want to know the answers. She only cared that she was in the same room with Ada, but Ada's conscience disturbed her. Mama Ada, she called her sister, back as promised. Ngozi was taking the news when her sister, seeing her reaction, quickly entered that when the wealthy interest, and after some time, she agreed to marry him. Unfortunately, the one died repeatedly, thus he of her and threw her out to pursue a younger woman. Ngozi was at a loss for words. All the and fear sister had been living comfort falling in her heart and offered her comfort as she wept. This home is always open to you, gently. But at the house, I mean, you looked, but I've seen better, and I can't remain here. But don't worry, I have a chance to give safe that chance, and I promise you, I will come back to take you with me. You will love that place. You know it was always your dream to go there, but you allowed me to go first. Ngozi had heard enough. She became angry as she remembered how she sustained a back injury for Ada, believe how wicked and selfish Ada was. Immediately, she warned her to stop calling her Mama Ada because she clearly was not her mother. She told Ada that she would not be receiving for but if she was at the house, she could be belonging. Ada stormed out of the and Ngozi went Chika with her ears. But she was also surprised to hear Ngozi to village giving the chance to her sister. So she said, I have always wanted to go. We will save and live together. Ngozi became excited. She knew it was time to move on. And who better to start a new life that's a fear and explore the beauty and knows if marriage will happen someday. Chika looked at her friend proudly. She remembered their first encounter and how they both treat each lives with kindness. Indeed, the saying is true. Sometimes the best family isn't the one you're born into, but the one you choose along the way. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed. I have some exciting news. Created a community, post new every Friday at 6 p.m. Africa. So, my sister, I want to hear more authentic songs. Click the link in the description to love to hear from you. Learn this story. For me, referencing Proverbs 7 verse 7, always the time of you know, a lot of the time people are the way they are because sometimes they don't even realize how those experiences have affected them in a negative way. That's why we shouldn't be so quick to judge. It says more about us if we abandon enough to help, whether it's friends or family. isn't John's opinions. It's about being there to be by each other, even when it's hard. Retouch. Don't forget to love them for more. Take care and goodbye. Ebube thought he was joking, so he began to laugh. Funny man, who else but you 200 gold in this entire village? Even the king was very honest. In a faraway land, there lived two brothers, and just like their names, he was known for his good heart, Ike for his. However, Ike was a nuisance to the villagers. Oftentimes, he would go around with his group, bring terror to everyone, and tired of losing their properties to them. So they reported to their king, Igwe, you must do something. They take a huge part of our profits every day, leaving very little, man said. The king thought for several solutions to stop it, only to order their arrest. How many of here green and even stronger than the village warriors? Finally, he thought of solutions, which presented two options to them. We can get help from the neighboring and down. It's probably not work. Or could give of gold from our village reserves, change with peace and security. Thought deeply about the king's suggestions and voted to enrich them because it came with the condition of protection for the villagers. About him, the case and said to him, he wants to enrich in exchange for protection. He has also invited your group, for it. But Ike thought it was a trap in his life, so he said to his group, nobody should attend. We will not live there alive. But Obi overheard them talk the group leave before approaching Ike. My brother, I think you should. The king wants to change your life. But Ike shunned his younger brother, saying, do you want king to kill me if something happens for you? And Ugoma, too. Ugoma was a 2-year-old daughter whom he had gotten from a love affair he had in the past. But unfortunately, her mother passed away during labor. It was for Ugoma's sake that Obi asked Ike to consider the offer. He knew his brother would help them out if he became rich. Obi wanted his baby girl to have the best life. All night, Obi's mind far. So the next day, he went to his brother again, but go and meet you at the king's palace. My heart when I ran with the for a small portion for Ugoma and myself. Obi, Ike said, laughing, you will not come out of that trap. Why are you being stubborn? Count me out of this matter, he responded. Challenge the king's palace and bring the gold back home. That Obi, with so much doubt. Then shook his head, small boy. Oga gold when you return with it, he said, mocking Obi. He was sure Obi was on the day of Ike to go on his market raids. He was gone but before he left, he hugged Ugoma tightly that would be back. Lobbied the king's gate and made up of his voice. As if not fire, he went to the palace to believe. The guards at the gate immediately announced his arrival. Asked in voice, asked in worry. But Obi laughed, but you cannot see them already know. Kena's only brother. He has to represent me. The village will suffer for it. And to ensure my safety, I must go out every 10 minutes to shout, I am safe, do not fire. The king and chiefs began panicking. They assured him that they had not called for trouble, and immediately the king waved his hands at the guards, and instantly they brought the gold out of the storeroom, and after that, talks of peace began. Obi diligently noted everything the king said to tell Ike, and every 10 minutes allowed to go out and shout, fire, banquet. The gold was loaded in a wheelbarrow, and Obi, with the help of the guards, began wheeling it out of the palace. As they went, he started shouting again, but this time he changed his words. I am leaving. Take your position. He asked them because it required to walk up the gold's compound, and just in front of the house was Ike, who was surprised to see Obi with a barrow and a huge cloth. "My brother, we have done it. We are going to be rich," Obi said, dancing in joy. Ike uncovered and was shocked to see a huge pile of gold